Oh, hi! One moment. How can I share this? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Hmm.
Hello.
Hi!
How are you?
I am good. And how are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you.
Good evening to you. Eclipse evening. Is it still under eclipse?
Yes, that's why I'm like, wait, the fact that we're doing it today is so aligned. Like, it's such a powerful day.
It is. It is. I'm just like, okay. And that's not like I woke up and I'm just like, wait, why is my countdown saying 2 days? And I'm just like,
No, it's okay. It's like such a crazy time difference between us. So we're here. We're doing this.
I'm just always very confused when it comes to like time difference because I have to convert the time and depends on PST and EST. Just like
No, I know. It's so annoying. I'm originally from the East Coast too. Like I moved out here a few years ago. I live in California now. But when I first moved
Mhm.
over, it was so hard to try and like talk to like the rest of my family that was back over there because I'm like they're gonna be like asleep and tired by the time like I'm like out of
Mm.
class and stuff. So
Yeah, I get that.
yeah.
Excuse me. I have a friend who's going to the US end of the year, and I'm just like, girl, I probably we are not going to contact for a long time after we
Yeah.
get to
You're like
the
have fun. See
vacation.
you later.
Yeah, she's just
Also,
going there
hi
and
Jenny, if you're here, welcome. Me and Paige are
yay,
going to be talking
Jenny.
about the Akashic Records.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, feel free. I'm just going to be like, let them join us first
Yeah.
because I take some time and so on. And because of the time mess up on my part, so I guess people are getting a bit confused.
They'll get the message. I think, can we, I think you have the option to name the live so people can say like Akashic Records talk or something if they see your live. I think they might be able, I don't know. I'm not good with
Mm.
technology, but I feel like I see other people do that. I'm like, wait, I think you can do that.
Interesting. Let me try and check it out. I'm just like, I'm very new to IG Live, so
Yeah, they're really good to do. Because I started this account not too long ago, so I definitely want to get like more like lives and stuff going, like because it's still in its early days.
yeah, take your time. Like, no rush. Like, I have this account for forever. I don't ever go live much on here, so
Yeah, I just feel like I wanted to make a new account than my regular like at Alexandra Floris account, just because I feel like there was a lot of like foreign energy like in that account, and I'm like, okay, like I just need like my clear space.
yes, true. I get that. I get that. I actually had a business account before until I'm just like, I'm not really resonating with Instagram that much, and then I closed up. Yeah, but
Yeah, it
I do get that.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not very resonating with Instagram that much, but we will see what happens moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you're pretty active on Twitter. See, I stopped kind of resonating with Twitter, and I haven't been on Twitter like in months.
Twitter is an interesting place.
Yeah, like I just one day I like deleted my Twitter app. I'm like, I'll go back one day, but right now I like felt called to really like put my energy into Instagram.
That's good too. Like I have met a lot of good, amazing energy workers and spiritualists on Instagram. Actually, Instagram has been the one place that I've been like constant because I had a transition period for my Twitter. So there was time that I have another account. I deleted that, and then I was like slowly on Instagram,
Yeah.
and they would like create the healing page Twitter, and then it grows. I was just like, okay, like
Yeah, like just let it do its thing.
Mhm. I don't think I can change the name. I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know how that works, so it's okay if we don't figure it out.
yeah. If anyone have any suggestion, or you have any knowledge on how to change the name for this how to say for
I
the
can try and look
for
that
the
up on
live, if you
my
know.
computer. I have my computer in front of me. Let me see if I can get info on how to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
But
was
yeah,
just
if
doing a
you
little like new moon eclipse like journaling session by myself, like really just like writing. And I kind of felt to myself, I'm like, I don't really like feel this new moon like as intensely, even though it is an eclipse. Like I feel like I felt the past moon cycle since like probably since the eclipse started like so intensely. And then this one I'm like, wait, it's already the new moon. Like I'm like, where did that come from? I haven't been feeling it.
I remember the full moon eclipse, the one that just passed. I was aching so much. I'm just there like, God, do your work. I'm lying there.
Yeah, they've been intense, like
Yeah.
intense.
This one is quite okay from what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I was like, whew.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel like this moon also kind of like crept up on me because I feel like
Mm.
everything like has already been like in motion at least for me like so I'm like,
Mm.
oh wait, like this is just like cementing in what already like has been building and building and now it's just like in its full like
Yes.
flow state. But yeah, I can't really figure out how to do the instant live
It,
name
it,
change.
it
The
is
answers
okay.
are weird.
I think everyone who knows, yeah, you guys can join us and like sending out the energies, anyone who align, please join us.
Well, if they
Yeah,
don't, I think
I
you can post it as like an IGTV video on your
think
feed too.
yes. Afterwards, only afterwards they will send give us like an option that if you want to post it
Mm-hmm.
as a TV video, then I will do that. I think there is a time limit of 1 hour as well. So if we go over, we will have to stop. They will stop us and we will have to start again.
Okay.
So guys, if you guys are here later, you guys want to continue, like join us again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Whoever is meant
I
to
want to
see it will see it at one point, whether it's now or later.
definitely, definitely. And yeah, if anyone have any question about the Akashic records you want to ask myself and Alex, feel free to. There is a question button over there, or you can leave them on the comments.
Just
Yeah.
drinking my
So
water. I'm alternating between water and this drink
mm,
called Kin. It's like an adaptogen, like brain mood drink. It's not like alcoholic and it doesn't have caffeine in it. It's so good.
oh
I love like how pretty the bottle is. Or the
yes,
can rather.
wow, I like that. I like the
Yeah.
graphic, like the design of it.
Yeah, it's so and this flavor is so good. It's like a almost like vanilla flavor and like with like a
Mm,
little bubbles and like warm like spices, like kind of like a chai spice, but with like a vanilla like bubbly flavor. It's like it's good.
I love that. Like I
Hmm.
would love that, but I do not know whether I can find them here in my local
Yeah.
market. Yeah, we'll see.
No, I ordered this. They don't really like sell that, but I found it on Instagram because it's like Bella Hadid's new like she's like
Mm,
creative director, I think, for this beverage
I see.
company, and I love Bella Hadid. Ooh, a
Ooh.
question.
How do you use the Akashic records for practical advice, like finding a partner or fresh start?
I
Alex,
love
would you
this
like?
question. Do you want to go first,
Yeah.
Paige, with your answer?
I'm okay either. Yeah. So okay, let me sit with it a bit. Yeah. Okay, for me, okay, usually I would just have to say that the Akashic records, for me, it does not always come in words. Like my communication with them, sometimes there is like banter and so on. Like if they are in the mood, if I'm in the mood, I will get to like have a conversation with them. But a lot of times, right, it's more little hint, like pushing you towards something. Like you can ask
Yeah.
them a question, they will go silent, you won't have an answer, but the next few days you will constantly see like a redirection of you to look at a certain things. Yeah, that is how I feel like, hey, this might be the thing for me. This might be their answers for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never outright, not in your face for me, my experience. And
Yeah,
Alex?
I feel like it honestly depends. I feel like I would just like I haven't really had to try this yet because I am like pretty secure with my living situation right now, but literally just by like I would just ask them, I'm like, okay, listen, like let's get real, like I need to find a new place, like it's time for me to move on, like let's go. And I know that they would be like, okay, yeah, like go on this website, scroll down to the third page of apartment listings, like the second one down. They're like, check that one out. Like, bet you would like that. I'm like, okay. So I feel like they would be like really clear and like precise with me. They're like, oh, you want a new place? Okay, well, like www dot like whatever. They would just like give me the whole like rundown. But like I feel like with anyone with like working with the Akashic Records, like just by being clear with them and like being precise and asking for what you want, like they will deliver in like some way, shape, or form.
Yes, definitely. Personal experience too. Like when I am maybe having a little bit of struggles with financial and so on, I'll be like, guys, what can I do? And then they'll be like, the next few days you'll see hints of what you can do. Maybe it comes up in like a tweet, a random tweet, people asking for, hey, anyone doing this kind of services? And if it's aligned, then you can start the services and something like that.
Yeah, definitely like be open to getting that information from like any source. Like how you said, like you would see it in like a tweet or something. Be open to like anything. Like maybe you would see like a number that sticks with you and then you look at like apartment listings and then that number is like the address on the apartment. Like
Definitely.
just the most like unexpected things and just like, oh, so that's how that connects to that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I have to say like apartment, I think I do have experience when I was like moving to Japan. The funny thing is that I was like, like I need a place to stay for a long term and I can't stay
Yeah.
in hotel, I can't stay in Airbnb. It's going to cost me whew.
Yeah,
So
Airbnbs
I
are
was
so
like,
expensive.
it is. Yeah, so I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I was just like, with the Akasha, what can I do? Like, how can I find a place? And then they'd be like, have me randomly scrolling on Facebook, which I just ever go on. Yeah. And then I was like, coming across a person who say that they are in Sendai, that is the place I want to stay in. So they're saying that we are opening new share house. And I was
Oh
like
my
looking at this, I'm just like,
gosh.
oh, okay. So I'm going to ask them for the share house. They say that they are full, but they have another one opening. So and that new one, the opening, like exactly where I stayed for the last
Yes,
year.
like just like getting so lucky.
Yes.
That's so
Yeah.
perfect and like such like an easy way to be like, okay, like that's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
love
like if
that.
you feel called to randomly go on a certain website, or it can comes on even like Instagram. Sometimes they comes on like the ads. You have no idea how the ads come to you. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
Probably
No,
some
it
sign.
reads my mind. Like Instagram ads, I'm like, oh, you're right. I should buy that. Or like, so, okay, so like this happened to me before our live. I've been
Mm.
thinking of starting like email lists, like of like my
Oh,
clients and stuff. And
yes.
literally, as I was scrolling Instagram, I saw an ad for like an email template to send your clients like really cute like email ads that are like really like trendy and like not
Mm.
annoying to like get in your inbox. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, interesting. And I followed like the account and it literally like, yeah, I like read my mind. I'm like, well, that would be so easy for me to do. Like just fill in the information and like press send.
Yes, yes. Instagram ads is cycling to say. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think I have not even searched. Like I have never searched on Google. I know that I'm just thinking about it. I have not tell anyone. I have not written anything online or anywhere. And then suddenly the apps pops up, and I'm just like, wait, you read my mind.
Yeah, it knows things before like you know it.
It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, Alex, I
And
wanted to also share with hmm?
no,
You
you go,
saying?
you go.
No, I was just asking, would you like to share with us your experience with the Akashic Records, how you start and so on?
Yes, yes, sure. So if you're just joining, we are talking about the Akashic Records. If you have a question, send it and we will answer it. But my experience with the Akashic Records, so it started on Twitter. I feel like so many things like start on Twitter. And I saw like a retweeted like Akashic Records channel message like from I'm like 99% sure it was from Denise like at Sugar and Spice on Twitter. And I'm
Mm,
like, and then for days, like I didn't really do anything more than just like glance over it. And this was like
mm,
around 2 years ago. Yeah, maybe a little over 2 years ago. Um, so I did nothing more than like glance over it, but then for days, like I could not get like the Akashic Records like name like out of my head. I'm like, what is the Akashic Records? Like I looked it up, like I just wanted to do more research on it. Like I wanted to like just really like I'm like, what is this? Like I need to know more about this. I need to know more about this. And at
mm,
that time, my life was kind of at like a crossroads too. I
mm,
am 22 now, turning 23 in January, and I was really torn about like 2 years ago I was like I thought I had to finish my degree. I was like I don't know what I want to study in school. Like I was a history
mm,
major, then an English major, and I'm just like I don't know what I want to study. Like I feel lost, like blah blah blah. um
mm,
so then I followed like Denise. Like I was just like super into like the Akashic Records, doing a ton of research.
mm,
And then I had booked a session with Denise in August. So our session was in August,
mm.
or no, March of 2020. And a
Ah,
week
I see.
before that was like the total lockdown happened in California. So literally my first Akashic session just completely like synced up with the first lockdown happening in California for COVID. And like of course I booked it like weeks in advance, having no idea that like the world was about to just like hit the fan. Um, so then I have the session. I'm like, just whoa, like the Akashic energy. Like I need more. I need more. Um,
Mm,
and yeah, basically from there, like I signed up for Denise's personal access class, and then it all just kind of like snowballed.
yeah, I love that. I love your story, and it reminded me like I think about 2 years back, the Akashic Records have like a recruitment period.
Stop!
I kind
Like they're so funny. I swear they would have like, okay, and now we're recruiting.
of
Like everyone, line up.
yeah, like
Time to get into
technically
shape.
that was yeah, there was a time everyone was like Akasha Records, like it's bombarded to them, and yeah, I'm actually similar timing as you about 2 years back, about there as well that I get to know the Akasha Records. So yeah, like recruitment period.
That is so funny. Yeah, I feel like this like eclipse period was like a whole other type of like recruitment period, you know? Like it felt like now that like we're on the other side, I'm looking back, I'm like, wow, like what a crazy 5 months where I just had to like step up.
Yes, totally, totally.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was like, what was I going to say about that as well? I'm like, okay, never mind. I lost my thought.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
It will come back. It was meant to be. Yes. Yeah, so briefly I should share my journey over there. For anyone who does not know, I do too got to know like no I got to know the Akasha Records via Debbie, which is a galactic Akasha Records reader. On usually she's on YouTube, she's on Facebook, she's not much on Twitter at all. Like she's not on Twitter at all. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
got to know the Akasha Records from Debbie, I think about 2 years back as well. That I got my first how to say that was galactic Akasha reading, like the star seed reading, because I for some reason during the Gemini season it just started and I was obsessed with starseed. I was just like, I need to look it up. I need to look it up.
Yeah, that's what happens with these things. Like you become like just so enraptured by it.
yes. And yeah, and then afterwards it's like yeah, I got a reading from Debbie, and then afterwards I was like, hey, I feel like I should, start reading the Akashic Records, or that is something that I want to explore,
Yeah.
at least from myself. Yeah, and I got into it about I think about July 2019 I got into it. And the funny thing is that because everyone should know me. I'm a Capricorn. So whenever I start something, I will be like, I need to do it perfectly. And how to achieve perfection is to put more time into the craft of
Yes.
practicing until I get good at it. So it does not work with Akasha Records. So please do not try that. Yeah. Basically, because I put so much time into accessing the Akasha Records, and that kind of like it is draining because a lot of energy does come into the body, and I felt exhausted for the whole 2 weeks. I was just there accessing the records for 2 weeks. I was exhausted, and I was
Wow.
like, I do not want to stop. And then I felt like I heard them talk. I heard them talking so loud, and so firm. Like, you need to stop the Akashic practice right now. Put it to a
Wow.
side, focus on the other things. Yeah, and I did. Until I think January 2020, that I have been connecting with Denise and so on. And January 2020, I finally have the time, have the energy to take the Akasha Records course, like the beginner course, and then from there it just zoomed.
Yeah, it just took off.
Yeah, it took off. Yeah, like any
Wow,
Akashic.
I love that they just like cut you off until you were just
Yeah,
like ready. You're like, okay, I can do this now.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that was
Like
such an important lesson, and just like thank God you learned it like when you learned it, because imagine like being like a practitioner and like having clients and like burning yourself out like when you have like that's like a
mm,
lot like to
yes,
learn.
definitely. Yeah. Also, but there's still sometimes they still nag at me at my time in the academic records because I do not close them. I'm just like,
I do that sometimes too. Like I just don't close them. They're like, okay, we're leaving now. I'm like, okay, bye.
yeah. Like be open. Like I recently like just set intention with them. Like, if you guys think that I'm exhausting myself, close it for me. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye. Yeah. I think that is very important. Because yeah, the Akasha energy can be very um heavy, or it can be very high vibration. Because it's so
Yeah.
high vibration and a lot of energy coming in, it can literally burn out the body.
Yeah.
So
Well,
very
yeah, that's why I feel like it's so important to like walk before you can run, especially with
yes.
doing like energy work,
Mm,
because like without you even knowing, like you can just bring so much like exhaustion and like burnout, and you're like, wait, but what am I doing wrong? But it's like, oh wait, I need to like be fully balanced in all
mm,
areas of my life, or else like this just isn't going to work out for me.
exactly. Exactly. I wish I got this advice back then. Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
definitely
But
all learn it like as we're supposed to learn it. Well, because especially like as us, as like little like employees of the
mm,
Akashic Records, like they will like just let all of their practitioners, learn this lesson, hopefully on like the earlier side before they do experience burnout.
true. True. Yeah. And I think that the Akasha Records also very good at, letting you learn the lesson real life, instead of
Yeah.
them giving you warning, telling you about it. They'll be like, go through it. And once you go through it, you know.
Yeah. And like there's not getting out until you're through. Like you can't be like, oh wait, like I mean, you can if you want to just like be, back where you were, but if you're like they're like if you really want to learn this, like you have to just go from X to Y. Like you can't just fast forward through it.
Yeah, definitely. It is very interesting. I really love the way of conduct, that they're not here to pamper us, they're not here to like baby us through. They're just here to like, you know what, I'm going to be that kind of like strict teacher, but it's not like beating you up or anything. But if you make this choice, you're going to get a consequence.
Yes, it's living with the consequences of every single choice, no matter how small. Like, that's the thing. Like, as you're eating this food, and they're like, well, you know, that came from this field, right? And was picked by this person, and that has this
Mm-hmm.
energy attached to it. And I'm like, I'm not hungry anymore. And they're like, you know, by coming into union with the food, you're merging your energy with the energy of that food, right? And I'm like, ooh, like, can I just eat my like pepperoni pizza?
Yeah, yeah, I get that. It's not on food for me, but usually, I think one of the biggest one that they did show me that I have choices was during the time I was like in a job, that I actually had a 2 years contract with them, so I can't get out.
Wow.
Yeah, so the time I was like kind of like bitching about it, and then they'd be like, "Hey, you should not bitch about it because you make a choice." They'll be like,
Yeah.
"You make the choice." So I was just like, okay. And then they'll be like, every single day you still have a choice. Like they're actually showing me like every single day you still have the choice. Like you either continue forward or you can, pay the amount and get out of this. Like they
Mm-hmm.
literally show me like, you have the choice. So every single day you're making the choice, so don't bitch about it.
Yes. Like, as long as you are continuing to live this life, like, don't complain because it's your life that you're constructing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it is.
love how like ruthless they can be when like calling you out on stuff. You're like, period. And I feel like working with the Akashic Records has made like me kind of a more ruthless person with like calling like people out. I'm like, well, because you like agreed to it. Like, that's why.
True that that is not very well received a lot of time, but yeah.
Well, I'm an Aquarius and I know you're a Capricorn, so we're both like Saturn people. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a very just like Saturn quality, is just like
Yeah.
being very upfront with everything.
Yeah. And yeah, like sometimes I might be a bit harsh, but I guess that
But you
is the
don't mean it
certain
from
love.
like a mean place, is the thing. Like, you do it out of
Yeah.
unconditional love.
Yes, yes, like the certain love, the certain be
Yes.
like, you do this, that kind of energy. I feel like the Akasha records also reciprocate the energy back to me. Like also I think it does have a little bit of like fluidity. If you are like a different kind of personality, there will be accommodating to that. Like there might be
Yes,
kind of
definitely.
less ruthless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. Well, because every person is different. So I feel like every person's personal experience with the Akashic Records also kind of like reflects that individuality. Like, they're the same on so many aspects, but they're also just so different regarding like your own energy.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Would you have anything to share? I just need a moment to get water.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we can take a little talking break. If you
Yeah.
are just joining us, my name's Alex and I'm here with Paige. I'm an Akashic Records practitioner based out of Southern California, and we are just having this live to chat about the Akashic Records. So if you have any questions, please send them. We would love to answer them about anything regarding the Akashic Records or like anything.
Thank you, Alex.
Water break.
It's so
Should we talk
important
about
for
like cool
water.
stories that we've had with the Akashic Records?
Please do. Please do.
Um, no, like, I invite you to share any like cool like past life stories or healings or just like cool things that you've experienced with the Akashic Records for these people. Oh, wait, we have a question first. So where can beginners get started with exploring their connection to the Akashic Records? Oh, and well, we'll answer this one after that.
Yeah. So, Alex, would you like to share?
Yeah, so
Hmm.
where can beginners get started with exploring their connection to the Akashic Records? So I love this question because every practitioner of the Akashic Records obviously had to like start from like the very beginning.
Yeah.
And basically, if you feel the call of the Akashic Records, that is getting started with your relationship with them. And like just thinking about them, like sitting in meditation with like them in your mind, like just doing research, like all of that is really like beginning that relationship. Also looking for Akashic Records practitioners you connect with also like is important, because I think it's not necessary, but if you feel called to, getting like a reading from a practitioner, I feel like will really help like just cement that in, and like being like, where should I start? And just letting them direct you if you can't fully like access them and receive messages from them.
Yes.
But yeah, that's what I did. So speaking from experience, that's what I recommend. What about you, Paige?
I love that. I love all that you mentioned, and some of them I actually practice on myself as well. And I do think for beginners, okay, so one of the very big things is about Akashic records. There is a lot of misconception out there. Is that either they are, you know, they're higher up over there, and that we have to respect, like kind of like respect them as in pray to them and so on and all that.
Yeah.
I do think it would be helpful for us to not get into that mindset
Yeah,
at the
it's not
start.
like a worship role.
Yeah, not worship role. They would help you to deconstruct the pedestal very quickly, and you would like it.
Yes. Yeah, and like taking down that hierarchy structure, like in everything, not just with the Akashic
Yeah.
Records, but every single relationship you have.
Yes, yes. Also for connecting, as Alex said, like, you know, you can meditate, you know, you can do anything that you, with the intention of connecting with the Akashic records, because I do think every single person, like every single person on earth, whether you're aware or not, you do have connectivity with your personal records, whether you know it or not. Like you do have it, even like, you know, anyone who is like I was saying, like, you know, they are working 9 to 5 and so on, they are still having that connection towards the Akasha records, even though they do not know it. Yeah,
Yeah, just
so
the fact that they're alive is
yeah,
that
yeah,
connection.
yes. So yeah, like meditation is very helpful. I think Alex started with meditation from what I remember, or I remember wrong.
Yeah, meditation definitely played a huge role in getting me like like energetically prepared to even like begin working with the Akashic Records. And then during that initial course I took with Denise, like meditation is like literally just part of that course. So having, you know, just like
Yep.
being able to meditate is so important with like being able to receive messages from the Akashic Records.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
with
They help
clarity, with like a lot of clarity.
yeah, help you to center. Yeah, another I would advise, that I would give advice, is to stay as grounded as possible throughout your
Yes.
with the Akasha records. Because the Akasha records, okay, one thing I noticed is that they send their messages through all your 5 senses, all your 6 senses. I mean, all the 6 senses, they send the message through that. And if you're not grounded, you're not in your body, you might miss out on those messages. Like if you have a feeling, maybe you're not in your body, you ignore the feeling. Or you hear something, you're not really in the body, you kind of like disregard it. So connecting back to the body is actually one of the very good way to connect with the Akasha records.
I love that
That
so
is
much. Yeah, grounding is so important, because also since the Akashic Records is like in up in like your eighth chakra, like getting like I feel like when you spend so much time like up in those like higher
yeah.
like those higher dimensions, like you need to be like in your body. Like whenever I finish an Akashic session, like most of the time, as long as it's like nice out, I'll go outside and just like sit in the sun just for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like I'll literally just like recharge myself in the sunlight. I'm like, okay, like I'm back now.
I love that. I love that. For me, it's that after a session, and also because usually I do the session, I do it a very long time.
Yeah.
Usually I would, afterwards I would just like ground back into like more mundane things. Like cleaning my house is one of my favorite. Otherwise, it's like, okay, let's cook and make something like complicated, and like bring yourself back to, you know, this realm. Focus
Yeah,
back on
back
this.
to earth.
So,
Should we
yeah,
answer
yeah. For
so
me,
tips So
And
Tori Cat tips on practicing and having more faith and trust when in the records. I love this question. Do you want to answer it first, Paige?
okay, for tips on practicing having more faith and trust. This one is, I think, it's quite a big one that even practitioner, like I would have to say myself, struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can hear something, I'll be like, nope, that is just me overthinking, and then they'll be
Yeah.
like something again, and I'll be like, oh no, shit, it's them. Like it's a learning journey. So
Yes.
I think it might help if you have that how to say that mindset about leaping, taking the leap of faith and trusting, like without backup. But a lot of time it's like slowly it would build up. Like I have to say I often ask them, like, if you guys if you guys really support me on doing this, because they always be like, hey, you are doing the spiritual work and it's like something that you should continue doing. I always be like still doubting, and I'm just like, if you guys support me on doing this, like please send me some sign or send me more businesses, more booking. I do always ask them, and constant communicating with them, where to lack confidence and trust. Okay, you can ask them to kind of like help you to believe. Like
Yeah.
they will show you something. They definitely will. They'll be like, they're not going to be how to say stingy with the signs and all
Yeah.
that. They will make things happen for you.
They
That's my
definitely
experience.
will. They'll make it loud and clear.
Yes.
And I feel like practicing faith and trust with the Akashic Records, like the Akashic Records and how much they love like their lessons. So I feel like they will tie that into like the very root of like your trust wound. If there's any relationships in your life that you don't share absolute trust with, like they will highlight those, like your trust with ultimate divine source at its root, like they
Yep.
will highlight that. And they'll really like 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 they'll like they will get to the center of it, and they're like, well, that's why you don't have full trust with us, because you don't have full trust in basically everything. So they'll make you like heal your trust wound. And then like on the flip side, like there's that that like ultimate trust, which obviously like I don't know if I don't know if I like will ever like as like a human being, like it's easy to be like, oh, did I mishear that, when like reference of myself, because like there's those days where you're just tired and you just have like things in your head and you're like, I don't know if I can trust myself fully right now to receive this message. And I know the Akashic Records would never mislead me, but I don't know if I trust myself right now. And then I would just
Yeah,
like take a break and then go back to that same question at another time too.
that's a very good one. Yeah. Like don't be afraid to ask the same question again another time, because
Yeah.
when the Akashic Records tell you the answer, they will tell you the answer. Like you will find that the answer is same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you really want to, you can book a session with a practitioner and hear those same things reiterated back to you by someone else, because like I promise you, like for the most part, like
Yeah.
it will be the same thing that you've been receiving.
Yes. Yes. It's kind of like I like the book session, because you will get the affirmation of whatever you're channeling, whatever you have been wondering, and you get the answer and you do not want to trust, and then they'll be like telling you the same thing, and you'll be like, so they have been talking to me after all.
Yeah. Like so I do, like I can do it.
Yeah. Okay, one other thing that it reminded me is that do whenever you whatever messages or answer you get as well, just be open to write them down, or
Yeah.
record them, put them down, because if it's just something that you hear and you forget about it, maybe, okay, or you might kind of like get a wrong memory, like you remember it wrongly later on, but when you have the physical kind of like physical proof, like you record it down, you write them down, you type them down, then when you look back at it, and you will find everything just makes sense.
Yeah. Or even
It
like I noticed myself like telling basically all the things the Akashic Records tell me about like myself to one of like my closest friends, like Caitlin, and literally I'll just be having a conversation with her and I'm like, yeah, then this happened. And she's like, wait, didn't the Akashic Records tell you that this was gonna happen like 4 months ago? And I'll be like, oh wait, like you're right. So like I literally feel like she is like my walking journal because like she'll literally do that so many times. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you know more than I can remember about what sometimes like the Akashic Records tell me.
I do feel the same. But I do try my best to record things down, like put on the
Yeah.
voice recorder. But yeah, a lot of times like you just disregard it because you'll be like, oh, that could be my thoughts, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do try and
So
write like most things down in my like journal and stuff, and just hopefully I'll even like remember to go back and read what I wrote in the first place to be like, oh yeah, and like make that connection.
I need to go back to my voice recording as well.
You should just to see like what happened.
Yeah,
And then we had this question: how do Akashic records differ from things like tarot?
that is a very good one.
That's a
And
really
actually, would
good
you like to,
question.
yeah, would you like to start?
Yes. So I said that's so funny. Sorry. So basically, so I am also a tarot card reader, and I love this question because before I got into tarot reading, I actually started working with the Akashic records, um, and think of the Akashic records as like a dimension, like in the time and space continuum that we exist in. The Akasha is a energy and dimension of its own. Tarot, you can read with your ancestors, loved ones, spirit guides, angels, those divine beings that are your soul team. Like when they come through with the tarot, like you know it's them because you're establishing that connection. With the Akashic records, you're just working with the Akashic records, not your guides, not your ancestors. They can tell you which ancestors want to work with you and all about your guides and all that stuff. They can tell you about your entire soul team. But when you're there, you're simply with the Akashic records versus, you know, the hodgepodge of different beings that surround each individual. So yeah, think of it as like I have been taking it to comparing it to like the iCloud library, but for your soul.
Yes,
It's
yes,
everything's all
yes,
synced up in there.
yes.
Do you want to say what you want to say, Paige?
Okay, so for me, the biggest difference between the Akasha records and tarot is that the Akasha records, okay, they how to say they don't do any prediction. They kind of like helping to show you like this is the pattern that maybe
Mm-hmm.
you have been repeating for lifetimes, because they
Yeah.
have every single thing like what you did in the past life, they have it up there. So they kind of like know it. So they'll be like, this is the patterns that you have that you keep on repeating. And
Yes.
maybe you can look into this and break the pattern, and hence they have to break you out of the life path that you are on, while terror it can be a whole, like, a lot of things. Like I'm like, terror is like whatever you set intention to ask, you get
Yeah.
the. So that is my biggest difference between two.
Yeah, that's a really good
Mm.
point. Yeah, with tarot, you need to be like, I feel like with tarot, you need to be super clear with your intentions too, because like it's
Mm.
easy for like a lot of messages to want to come through with tarot because some people have
Yeah.
like this family member wanting to like tell them this, and like this guy being like really like pushy with this info, and like it can kind of be like, okay, like we need clarity for this person, like you guys can't all be talking at once kind of thing. But with the Akashic records, it's very like streamlined. um
It-
at least like for me, like I'm always able to just like know what they mean when they say it, and like, and yeah, the patterns, like they're very clear with the cycles and patterns like you are in and what you need to do in order to change this.
yeah.
And like they're just like, I love them. Like they're just so like just like relaxing. You're like, okay, just tell me what I need to do. And they're like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to know that?
I love that question. They always be like, are you sure? I'm just like, no.
tell me, because you know me better than I know me.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it is always tripping me up whenever they want to ask, like, are you sure about this? I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Yeah. But they really emphasize on personal responsibility and personal accountability. So I think it is one of the very big thing about that as well. Like there will be like, okay, this is something that you are doing, that you have to take personal accountability on this action, or you make this choice. So take that responsibility for this choice that you have made.
Yes.
That's a very big thing for that. Also another thing I can think of is that the Akasha records do not really predict the future. They kind of like, this could happen, like following the pattern. Yes, this could happen. If you like in the middle you change another, then they'll be like, it can change course and something like that. So they're not big
Yeah.
on futures.
Like, because they're just so able to just see like all realities, like from all timelines and all like
Mm.
huge effect on
Mm.
like everything. And yeah, it can be really easy to be like kind of caught up in like the small things, and you're like, oh wait, like I
Mm.
can just make the choice not to worry about this. Like um
Yes.
like it's always good to like, I don't know, they are always
Mm.
good at like kind of getting me out of my head with things like that, because it's easy to be like so caught up with like life,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like, like
Yeah.
you're worrying about that for no reason, right? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they always like to do that. Like they like to highlight that we are worrying too much about the future, and then they're like, you are just worrying about this for nothing. Like that, exactly what you say. Like they will always like throw it back to me as well, because as a
Yeah.
captain of Dom placement, I do project for my future. Yeah, so
Well,
they'll be like,
we're human, so it's human nature to do that. Like, of course, we want to pretend we know what's happening. We want to
yeah.
feel like in control.
True, true. And they will really remind us that, you have to give up, like you have to let go of control, because it's not a thing.
Yeah. And then someone said, or
Mhm.
at the culture cave, if the new moon is a good time to have an Akashic record session with a practitioner. Oh, is a new moon. Like if you're feeling it, then go for it. Literally whenever
Yes.
you're feeling that call to have a set, like a time in the Akashic records, definitely follow that instinct, whether it's now, which is the new moon energy period,
Mm.
which this is a very strong energy period, so it would make sense if you feel called to have an Akashic record session because of all the maybe cycles and whatnots that is happening in your life. Or
Mm.
like any time's a good time to be in the Akashic records, in my opinion.
Exactly, exactly. Anytime is a good time. Like whenever you feel the call, is most of the time is them literally calling you, like, beeping you, like, come on, and let's have a chat with them.
Yes, like that's coming from outside of you. Like you have no control over that particular interest. If you do find yourself with like a huge interest with the Akashic records, like that is not really coming from you. That's them being like, come on, come on.
Yeah. It
Because you
just
made that
reminds
agreement
me.
with them before this incarnation. Like you told them the time to kind of bring you back to them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I love that. Yeah. It reminds me of my first session. It happens on suddenly my obsession with the starseed, and I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, the Starseed awakening is such a powerful one too. I feel like every Starseed that like woke up like had that like period of just like I need to learn about like all of these different like star races
Mm.
and all of these different starseed origins and watch all these videos of people talking about it. Like it's definitely like
Mm.
with every like awakening, like you have that compulsion to just dive deeper and deeper into it.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, like, don't fight it. Just, if it's aligned, go and get a session and
Yes,
get
roll with it.
get all
Taking
those,
aligned action when you feel called to take it.
get all those tea for yourself. It's hot
Mm-hmm.
tea.
It's waiting for you.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, Alex, would you like to share more about, your own, how to say, like your own experiences, anything you have, seen or been through with the Akashic Records, any interesting story, any interesting tea?
Yeah. So growing up, I always had a very like firm belief in reincarnation.
Mm,
I always knew I was like here before. I knew the people around me were here before. Like I knew that like reincarnation was real. And literally as like a little kid, I remember thinking to what I now know was the Akashic Records, like talking to them. I'm like, well, in my next life, like I'm doing this, like all like annoyed about like one minor, like whatever little kid inconvenience. I'm like, well, my next lifetime, like I'm gonna do this instead. And I bet they were like, okay. Um, but that was always such like a firm like truth like in me. So I
mm,
guess when I started doing Akashic Records sessions, I loved doing past life sessions, and not even loved past tense. Like I love doing past life sessions because it just like fulfills that like childhood like joy in me, because I'm like giving people recounts of like their own past lives literally just like fills up my cup. I'm like, this is so cool. Like I love it. And most of I mean, I get like a mix of clients like that are informed about like star past lives or like
mm,
galactic past lives or like just earth past lives, which all of it is so interesting. um
yeah.
but yeah, like I have also had like the Akashic Records do like past life regression healings on me,
Mm,
where I'm like just in the records and literally just like going through like a full past life like regression. And it's not like kind of how it sounds,
mm,
like you receive like
mm,
very visceral like feel, at least I do, like as I was like there now, whether it's like emotional like crying or like
mm,
visions, and just like the integration of those like
mm.
lessons and memories that like needed to be healed. So definitely if you are interested in the records but are also interested in past lifetimes, I recommend finding a practitioner that maybe that's like their like specialty or whatnot. Like I know Paige is so on it with her galactic Akashic like soul history sessions, um and like I have like a very specific like past life regression healing. Like I feel like
Mm.
different practitioners have like their um so yeah, like it's
Different
so like
skills.
limitless with the types of sessions you can get like in the Akashic Records, because there's like so many different great practitioners that like offer such unique sessions in them. So yeah, I just feel like I love the whole past life part of it.
I do personally love the past life of it too. I personally have interacted with practitioners who are more on like dealing with current life, what they're
Yeah.
dealing with and so on. And also I have seen like, galactic records practitioner like Debbie and um past life regression as well. And some of them are even doing energy work to heal the past life, any wounds or any patterns and so on. So yeah, each of us have our own unique skill, I will have to say, that we can bring to the table. So whoever you're aligned with, feel free to go with it. And that is, um, like literally your soul know what you want, and your soul been telling you what you want, what you need. So go with it. Like don't
Yeah.
doubt that
And all
kind of
like past life experiences that I've had with like my personal past lives with like the remembrances and
thing.
whatnot have been brought up for like healing. Like this
Mm,
isn't like, yes, like it's super cool to look back on your soul's history and be like, oh, so that's why I kind of am the way I am. But what is really wanting to come up is what's wanting to like to be healed. So if like so and so has always had an obsession with like 1400s like Germany, like let's say like maybe they've had, chances are they've had a past life that really wants to come through to them for healing. Because luckily we're in a position right now where we can address these like specific instances within our soul's history that have undergone like intense trauma and are still like holding pieces of us there, and we're able to now address that. And when you're working with the Akashic Records, like you're healing on that ultimate level of like I can get to the core of like basically
mm,
infinite healing. Like I can do like anything in this energy. So that's like been really cool.
Love to hear that. Love to see that. Yeah, like cool story. I think I should share mine too, but I'm just like, um, is there any cool story? Well, I personally, when I'm going into the records, I always like to travel. Like that is one of my favorite thing to do, like Akashic traveling. Well, and usually I do just get out of Earth. Like I just go out to other star system because I find that that is something I probably more familiar with because
Mm-hmm.
from what I know from the Akasha records and also I know from my soul level, like it's like I do not have a lot of lifetime on Earth. Like
Yeah.
Earth is a very short time for me so far. I only like this is my sixth lifetime or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm more familiar out than in here.
Yeah, you want to like go back to where your vibes are familiar.
So hence, like my Akashic record session also is like more on the star galactic part of it than on Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. So probably like my favorite and the coolest thing is to see all these different star system and the civilization that they have, as well as their values, because different star systems like different planets, okay, the different civilizations, they have different values, like the Syrians, especially the Syrians, okay, the Syrians, they have a very strong family value, that they be like we have parents that have like the similar family system like Earth,
Oh
so they have like
wow.
kids, but if you look into like Andromeda, if you look into where else was that, the Arcturians, okay, they have lesser family values, but they have a collective values that
Yeah.
yeah, like I know for a fact that the Arcturian does not even like that they form their family, like me and you align so that we both are going to manifest a kid. Like it's not kind of like it's not a family, but it's like okay, we align so we manifest a kid.
Yeah, like let's merge these energies and like bring a soul into it.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to see like the values are different. So I love to explore about that, and also like say on Earth, and also where else, my biggest difference like Earth and Pleiades. Like Earth, we have like that kind of like that values about if you do wrong you have to pay for it, so you have to pay for it behind jail, or
Yeah.
other punishment. But for Pleiades, like if you look at them, Pleiades actually they have that forgiveness, like they have very strong forgiveness thing over there. So they do lock, like kind of like lock those people who are misbehaving behind a door, but they are not treating it as a punishment. They kind of like treating it as like, oh, so you have these thoughts, you want to destroy the civilization for say, okay, so we want to help you through like what is it that causing this behavior.
Yeah, like
Like they
what's the
will
root of your
send in,
trauma?
yeah, they will send in like so-called therapists, psychiatrists into
Wow.
that cell and actually work with you. Like, what are you going through, and so on. So it is so cool, like to see like
That is
differences over there.
amazing.
Yeah, it is. Like I love to explore that. It's like it is just so cool.
That's so fun. I
Yeah.
like can astral project, but not like on command. Like I'll usually like fall into it like accidentally, and I'm like, oh, and then I'll get scared, and then I'll put myself back in my body. But like I have these instances where I like come to in that like an astral projection, and I'm like zooming through space, and I'm like, wait, like I'm going too fast. Like I'm like I don't know where I am, and I'm like, oh wait, I know where I'm going, even if I kind of don't. So yeah, definitely. Like I want to explore that more once I get over my fear of like, I don't know, the intensity of like the energy sometimes can be a lot for me. Like when I'm astral projecting, because I'm like, I want to go back.
Take your time. Definitely no rush about that. Yeah, like I think I personally dislike astral projection normally, but it's only in the Akashic field I feel more, how to say, more grounded, and
Yeah.
I feel more protected inside that field because they have
Yeah.
this Akashic light around you, so it is more protected. So I feel safer to do that.
Yeah. No, definitely it's important to know that like you are protected whenever you're working with the records. Like their
Yes,
protection is so strong. Like you can fully just surrender to their healing and wisdom because you don't have to worry about anything when you're in the Akashic light. Like you're there and nothing can touch you.
definitely, definitely. Okay, I actually okay, I'm looking at the clock and they went over an hour. I don't get any countdown. I don't get any warning about them ending the live. So I think it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank
whenever you
you.
want to close this, I can't believe it's been an hour since we started because
Mhm.
time flies when you're talking
Enjoying
about the
yourself.
Akashic Records.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So anyone else have any question, any quick question that we can answer? Or otherwise, yeah, we will be doing a closing on this. Yeah, the Akasha Records. There's so much to touch on. Like I
I
would love to have
know.
you another day. Maybe like we can come up here and just, chat about the Akasha Records more and introduce them to anyone who wants to know.
Yes, I would love to do another live with you. And also, I know you have a podcast. I would love to take our conversations onto your podcast as well because I feel like we could talk
Mhm.
about some really cool things on there.
Yes, that'd be cool. I would love that. Like, welcome to a slice of life anytime. Like
Oh
any
my gosh,
topic that you
yay.
want to.
Oh, I can't wait. I have an idea for a podcast. So once I start that, you are invited totally.
Thank you. I'll be honored to. Like, oh my God.
It's going to be called The Dream Journal. And we're going to start off each episode talking about a cool dream that we've had. And then it'll just be about like the unseen realms.
Wow, I love that.
I'm
I love that.
excited.
I
I just
would
need to
love.
get the equipment and then you can be my guest.
I'll be honored to. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I think like everyone is good. There is no question. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So mm,
that's it. Everyone have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Um, Ground yourself in this energy that we're having right now and enjoy the lunar eclipse magic that has been happening.
lunar eclipse. Yeah. Um, it is a fun time. So let's try just to ride the wave. I would say ride
Yes,
the wave
ride the
because
wave and let
yeah,
things
the wave
fall where
can
they
be
need to fall.
ride the wave and have fun. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and thank you so much for joining me, Alex,
Oh my
and
gosh, you're
everyone who's
so
here.
welcome. This was so fun.
Yeah, I love to have you up here and talk about Akasha Records anytime again. So feel free to, like let's discuss after this, like on
Yes,
via DM and so on. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yay. Well, have a great rest of your day, Paige.
And you please have a good evening and
Thank
rest up.
you.
I will
Thanks.
talk to you.
Yes.
Bye.
Goodbye.